Hey, what's up, rock stars? It's Rocks with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blog. So let's get to it. All right, you guys. So I got Jasmine. She's just running around outside. She felt the need to run around and be free. So I'm trying to keep my eye on her, make sure she don't usually go off too far, but she can't hear. So if she goes off far, then I got to go out and get her because I can't call to her. So anyway, I'm going to be kind of looking around. I know that gets on some of you guys' nerves. Oh, well, how are we all today? It's the Rona check-in, making sure on whatever week this is of our pseudo quarantine, lockdown, whatever you want to call it, stay at home order. Me and my family, we are okay. And that is my whole family, my extended family, because you guys have been asking about my father and my brother in LA. They are doing well. Still so far, and I haven't had any, I had one cousin and his wife who had COVID, but other than that, it has, my family as a whole has escaped it thus far. So we're blessed. I know that hasn't been the case for many. So, of course, my prayers are up and out for all of you who have been affected closer. It's bad again, I think we all got real laxed. People got tired of being home, of course. And now the numbers are spiking astronomically. And we knew that. We've got new hot spots. Arizona, they said they're about to call in the National Guard. So for my Arizona rock stars out there, you guys be safe. Again, out in Florida, they're having issues. Even here in Georgia. Actually, most of the southern states and the borders, meaning like California, California and kind of going around down and coming back up this way around Georgia. So the bottom half of the United States are pretty much being hit hard. And I don't know. I don't see it ending anytime soon. It's bad right now. That's all I can say. So I can just tell everybody out there to be very safe. Continue to wash your hands, wear your masks, social distance. I mean, those are the staples that seem to help people from catching the virus. Here in Atlanta, they've actually, Keisha Lansbottom, who has been tested positive for COVID-19. She said she couldn't even believe she got it because, she's been doing all that she's supposed to, but she got it. And she didn't have any symptoms. She said that she has been irritable. And that was not normally how she behaved. So that's the only thing that she can see that was different. But she has now announced that there is a mandatory face mask wearing when you're in public. So I don't really know what the ramifications are of that legally, if you don't have it on, if they're going to be enforcing it, if there's tickets, if, I don't really know what I know they can't really afford right now to do any of that, enforcement, because the police department out here in Atlanta is having issue, even though Atlanta is just a small part. There's many other police departments, but Keisha Lansbottom is the mayor over Atlanta. So that part of Atlanta that part of Georgia being enforced, I don't know how that's going to work with the police, taking sick outs and calling in and, doing all of that. So it's a mess kind of in Atlanta right now, to tell you the truth. I know you guys have seen the videos of these COVID parties. Some of the clubs out here obviously are not enforcing in any kind of way any type of social distancing, pool parties. It's just really a mess. And you can look at them and tell that they are super spreader events. And I think they said at some club out here called Heretic or something like that, there was a few patrons who had tested positive. So now they're trying to figure out who all was going to that club, and trying to get them to self-quarantine. So yeah, it's a mess. There's still a lot of people who aren't taking it seriously, because like I said, even for me, it has not hit home yet. It hasn't hit close to home. And that's probably the case for many others, because even though you hear about the thousands of people in Atlanta who have, who've had the disease, there's still many who haven't. So it makes people feel like they're invincible. But you know, the virus can get to you. So I just wish people would realize that and count their blessings that they haven't been affected thus far. Like I said, there's many that have been affected, and many of you guys have told me that in the comments. So it's frustrating, because as it goes on, you just know that life will never get back to normal. Nothing is going to get back to normal until they can get some sort of medication to fight it. Okay, and that includes a vaccine. I know people are against vaccines and whatnots, but something's going to have to happen to get this under control. No regular life activity, and I mean nothing, can get back to normal until they can get a control on this disease or on this virus. So it is indeed a mess. Okay, still off of work, still working from home. I'm just feeling like every week is like Groundhog Day, that I come on here and I say the same things and the shit just gets worse, and it only gets worse, sir. Okay, shout out to Future. So yeah, I want to know what you guys are doing about the Rona feet. While we talking, not Rona toes, baby, Rona feet. Why these motherfuckers so rough? Like, I haven't changed any of my routine. Like, I still take a bath every single night. You know, I still lotion up every single night, sometimes even in the day. Okay, these motherfuckers done got so hard and sharp. I'm just like, what is, man, I don't know what has happened. It's like the air has changed something, and my poor little feet just suffering. I'm trying to keep up with it with my pedicures and all of that, but you know, you just get a good little area to just be dry, and then you just sit there, you just pick at it and pull at it and pull at it and pull at it. It's like self-soothing, you know, you just sit there and just pull off skin. Okay, fuck around and pull off way too much, big ass chunk. Foot start bleeding. I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's just embarrassing to show the feet right now. I know I need to get back to the damn, you know, to get my pedicure, but I'm afraid to go, especially right now, you know, so I've just got to handle it at the house. But child, it is a travesty. What y'all doing for y'all Rona feet? Y'all, because I know I can't be the only one walking around with these hard ass feet. I don't even want Missy to touch them. I was just like, don't touch on them. You know, you be trying to grab onto them at, you know, special times. It'd be like, you gonna get a cut. So, anyway, y'all. Yeah, Rona just done hit all types of places, hasn't it? Just terrible, you guys. Anyway, like I said, I hope you guys are all being safe out there. Let's get on to the rest of the video. Okay, so starting off, YSAP. He wants the schools to open in August. You know what's crazy about YSAP is that he has all of these demands that he wants to happen, but he doesn't ever have any type of solution to how we are going to safely do these things. He's demanding for churches to open. He's demanding for businesses to go back to opening. He's demanding for schools now to open. But what is exactly your plan? These schools cannot sustain having a whole school full of kids, you know, and trying to enforce social distancing and trying to make sure that they have on masks. The schools can't afford to offer masks every day. If these kids show up to school without a mask, what, they're going to send them home, you know? Then, of course, there are parents out there who are afraid to send their kids to school. Listen, I have friends that have school-age kids still. And they're torn between whether or not they should send their kids back. Okay, first of all, they ready for their ass to go back to school. Okay, that's the first thing. The kids are ready to go back to school, which is crazy. You know, usually kids are happy to be home, but the kids are over it, want to go back to school. The parents would like for their children to go back to school and so that they can resemble some sort of normalcy. However, parents have to be aware that it may not be safe for their children to go back to school. So that stops them. Okay. But then that creates another problem. What are they going to do with their little children who can't be home by themselves? You know, so it's a lot going on, and here you got YSAP trying to tell everybody that he is going to cut funds, which honestly, I don't know how he's going to be able to do that. Many of the governors have come out and said the schools are run by the state and that YSAP doesn't have any say over whether or not funding goes to them, how it even is distributed. So a lot of times he's just blowing smoke. Of course, we know that he's just appealing to his base, and there goes Jasmine. He's just appealing to his base and just trying to say the things that he knows that the gung-ho, the Americans, the ones that patriotic and all of that, are requesting, are hoping for. So it's just stupidity, He gets up there. It's almost like YSAP and YSAVP, they get up there and say one thing, and then their team for the crisis get up there and say something totally different. That YSAP will sit up there and lie his ass off and say that everything is good, and I don't know. Again, Groundhog Day. We say this all the time, right? The nigga stupid. As of right now, what are you as parents planning to do? For those of you, my rock stars who have school-age children, particularly elementary and middle school age, or maybe just elementary school age children who you might not necessarily want to leave home by themselves, even if you have to go back to work and all of that. So I'm just trying to find out what is everybody's plan right now, because school is coming real soon. I guess while we're talking about politics, we can also talk about Kanye. I don't even want to talk about it. I really don't, but I mean, real quick, he's supposedly running for president. He said in a tweet, and I quote, "We must now realize the promise of America by trusting God, unifying our vision, and building our future. I am running for president of the United States," end quote. And then he put a hashtag 2020 vision. You guys know Kanye is very stunts and shows-ish. He hasn't even registered for the Federal Elections Commission. It's too late to put his name on the ballot. In the 23rd hour, he decides that he's going to run for president. It annoyed me because obviously we know that there are some people out there who are stupid enough to think that it is forward or progressive thinking, and that they will throw their support behind him. There's a group that will do that. And that group is only going to take away from the Democratic, the nomination for president. It's frustrating, Of course, he has an album coming out. He teased a song that he's planning to come out. I think the album is called God Vision or something like that. I don't give that kind of stuff attention and energy because I don't want to be behind the energy of pushing forward something so stupid and idiotic and irresponsible, because there's really no way that he's going to win. All he's going to do is fuck up the vote. What we can talk about, though, with Kanye West is him receiving $2 million in that payment protection program that they had for the, when the businesses were suffering. That was supposedly for the small businesses, but we had a number of very large businesses that took the money. I've told you guys about a few of them, including the Lakers, Ruth Chris, a bunch of other places that took that money but ended up giving it back because people started to complain about it. Well, it seems that Kanye West, his fashion line, also took $2 million. I'm not sure if he gave that money back, but it did come to our attention that he did that, or that his company did that. So, yeah, it leaves a little, a nasty taste in your mouth when you know that many of these small businesses didn't get the money, okay? And that program that was rolled out was not done, it wasn't done correctly. And a lot of big businesses took advantage. So, yeah, I don't know. That's all I'm going to say about Kanye. He's supposedly serious. He is definitely an egomaniac. He's definitely a narcissist. I like Kanye, but this Kanye is the one that gets on my fucking nerves, okay? He's in that mode again, so whatever, okay? But I think that is going to be it for politics. Actually, I'm looking over my topics today and everything is kind of a bummer. But that's what it seems to be these days, right? Life seems to be a bummer these days. Let me make sure Jasmine is all right. But anyway, you guys, moving on along. So let's talk about gun violence that's going on around the nation. Actually, there's a lot of gun violence that's going on here in Atlanta. I believe we had, last weekend, I believe it was, 24 shootings in Atlanta. I think there were 4 people that were killed. We had a little 8-year-old girl, I believe her name is Sequoia Turner. She was in the backseat of her mother's car. This was on 4th of July. And you guys know that on 4th of July, people are shooting their guns up into the air, or people just shooting their guns, period. It might not even be in the air. And many times you have innocent bystanders getting hit. So in this case, little Sequoia, if I'm not saying her name, I'm sorry. If I'm not saying her name correctly, I'm sorry. But she was in the backseat of her mother's Jeep Cherokee. And her mother supposedly was trying to turn around in a parking lot. Now, this is over on University Avenue, which is right across the street from the Wendy's where all this shit went down with Rayshard Brooks and him getting killed, okay? Across the street from there, there's a parking lot, and there was some sort of makeshift roadblock that was put up by people that live in the area or in the area. Not quite sure why they put this roadblock up, but they put a roadblock up. Evidently, the little girl's mother was trying to go around the roadblock, and I'm not sure if she lived in that area or what, but she was trying to go around the roadblock, and there were 4 people, they say, that just opened fired on her SUV. They said that the truck was hit 8 times and that the little girl was struck and killed. They didn't catch the people who did it. However, they do have a video of one of the suspects. He's walking around with an AR-15. Just, you know, craziness. Walking around with the AR-15, this semi-automatic rifle, and took the life of an innocent little girl. So now they are on the hunt for the 4 suspects. They said that it was at least 3. They believe 4, but it was at least 3 people. There's a $20,000 reward for the little girl's killers to be found. And I saw the video. It's online. And they have a pretty clear picture of at least one of the guys. All they got to do is catch one and they'll be able to catch the rest. But it's sad. It's sad, and it's actually very bad in Atlanta because I told you that they're having some problems with police being out now. Of course, 4th of July doesn't help. People are already shooting their guns and things, and this is the result. But gun violence is picking up everywhere. I mean, I think that people are it's just so much commotion and chaos in the nation right now that it's starting to not be safe. Yeah, y'all, it's a lot going on. People are saying that celebrities aren't speaking out about it. I'm not quite sure why that is or isn't happening. What I can say is that it's just so much going on that even for me, it's hard for me to keep up with everything that's going on. People will call me, my friends, or, you know, I'll be talking to family, or, you know, somebody will inbox me and they'll be like, did you hear about such and such and such? And I'll be like, no, because I completely stayed off of social media and didn't watch no news for 2 days, you know. And a lot of shit happens in 2 days, you know, so I won't even know about certain things until it's time for me to do the top of the blogs, and then I have to go back and try to research. But it's a lot. It's a lot to try to, you know, it's a lot for me to try to consume and give to everybody. So I can imagine that it would be that way for many other people too. Okay, you feel the responsibility to do it, but it's tiring a lot of times because it's just so much of it. One of my subscribers said that we needed to start a Young Black Lives Matter hashtag because these children are dying and nobody is speaking out for it. And maybe we do. I mean, maybe we do. But yeah, prayers up for little Sequoia, Sequoia, S-E-C-O-R-I-E-A, I believe is her name, Turner. You know, a little girl's life is completely gone. 8 years old. Didn't get to do nothing. The killers obviously don't care to just be randomly shooting into cars and not even knowing who's inside of it. So prayers up for the family, for the mother, the father, you know, if she had any siblings, you know, just, it's a sad time, you guys. That's all I can say. I can give you guys an update on Brianna Taylor Steele. I can't even tell you how many days it's been, how many months it's been that her killers, Jonathan Mattingly, Brett Hankinson, and Miles Crossgrove, they still have not been arrested for her murder. And I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, like, I didn't understand why it was taking so long. Like, what is the problem? I mean, this story had so much attention, and many of you guys directed me towards, you know, looking into police unions. And I actually was able to watch a podcast or listen to a podcast with the New York Times that actually was talking about police unions. And I just was not aware that these unions completely protect the police, that many of the times these police officers have records that are, you know, very large or have many complaints, and have been reprimanded, have been even in trouble, but the unions will protect these police officers, and eventually they're back out on the beat and getting back into trouble, only for the union to protect them again. So, I don't know where Jasmine is. She's nowhere to be found. So that's probably what's playing a large part into her killers not being brought to justice. And that is unfortunate. Like, I don't even know how police officers who know they're dirty, how they live with themselves. You know, I just feel like the guilt would be so overwhelming for me that my quality of life couldn't even if I knew that I got away with murder, I don't know how I could still live with myself. But obviously you have to be a certain kind of person. First of all, you have to be a certain kind of person to even become a cop. Not saying that all cops are bad at all, you know, but still there's a certain type of mentality that you have to even take on that position. And then for you to go rogue or for you to become a bad cop, like, I don't know. But yeah, she's still no justice there. And as the time goes on, I just feel like there won't be. And I know people are still fighting for it. People are still trying to keep her name alive. People are still trying to keep her hashtag active. People are really trying to keep the social media aspect of it alive so that, you know, it doesn't die away. But as things get piled on top of the Brianna Taylor murder, you know, it will. And that's too bad. So you guys just continue to do what you can do to try to, you know, bring those police officers to justice. Continue to say her name, Brianna Taylor. And while we're talking about Brianna Taylor, let's also talk about Vanessa Guillen. I hope I'm saying her last name right. She is the Fort Hood soldier that had been missing back since April. And the story wasn't really out there like that. It has picked up steam, of course, since then. Evidently, the way that the Army was trying to present it to the public was that she was AWOL, that she had ran off. She was in Fort Hood, I believe, which is in Houston. I believe that's in Houston, Texas, or somewhere right around the outskirts of Houston, Texas. And yeah, they were just kind of treating it as if she just ran off and she was missing. Nobody was really giving it that much energy. Her family always suspected foul play, and they were putting the pressure on for something to be done about it. Aaron Robinson, he became a suspect. Now, Aaron Robinson has since killed himself, but evidently, Aaron Robinson and his girlfriend, though Aaron Robinson supposedly has killed this girl. Supposedly he had gotten a hammer and had bludgeoned her to death, had repeatedly hit her with a hammer, and then disposed of the body. Now, as the heat was picking up on the investigation of who was responsible for her murder, or for her missing, because they still hadn't said that she was murdered, they started to assume that maybe she had been murdered because she hadn't turned up anywhere. You know, there was no proof that she had been using credit cards, debit cards, that she was staying anywhere. She had just disappeared. So they had assumed that she was dead. And yeah, he became the suspect. As the investigators was closing in on him, he ended up killing himself. But his girlfriend, Cecily Aguilar, she said that he actually told her that he had killed her, Vanessa, and that he ended up taking her body to a secluded place in the woods, and he wanted his girlfriend to help him dispose of the body. So this is what she is saying. Of course, she's saying that she wasn't involved in the actual murder of Vanessa, but she was involved in helping him get rid of the body. So she went to the location where supposedly he had stashed the body, and they, you guys, it's very graphic and brutal, but they ended up chopping up her body. They tried to burn the body and was hoping that it would turn into ashes so that they could bury the ashes. However, the body didn't burn up as much as they believed it would. I mean, people don't realize that the fire has to be extremely hot to burn a body completely to ash. You know, you have to be an incinerator, basically. So, you know, these people stupid. They don't know this. So they're trying to burn her body that's been dismembered. Can you imagine if you were this woman's family and you're trying to bury your family member, your loved one, and it's burnt up and in parts? Horrible. But yeah, they buried the pieces or the parts of her body in different areas of the woods, and then they actually went back because they were concerned and thought maybe they could burn it again and that it would burn, and it wouldn't burn anymore. But she ended up leading them to the area where her remains were, and that was how you know, they were able to say who was responsible for this murder. So this was right by the Leon River, and they said it's about 20 miles east of Fort Hood. So now she faces charges of conspiring to tamper with evidence, and she was just in court just a few days ago. They said that she faces 20 years in prison, a $250,000 fine is the maximum. But craziness. The Army was trying to put a lid on it, I guess, with everything else that was going on. But how do you not look for your fellow soldier? You know, it's just crazy. You know, they almost tried to make her seem like she was like this loose woman who was out there. I mean, they tried to really make her look bad. And I think that the Army needs to apologize to that family, because it was ridiculous how many of the higher ups were speaking so down on that young lady. But yeah, it looks like the people responsible were found, even though, like I said, Aaron Robinson has killed himself. I still want to know about this Cecily girl, though. Was she really involved more than she's saying? You know, it's easy to blame it on the dead person. But as of now, they're just saying that he was the lone person that was involved in killing her. But I feel like they should throw the book at her, since she's the one that's left over. Prayers up for that family who had to go through months and months of trying to get something done, only to find out that, yes, indeed, their loved one was killed. Okay, and then rest in peace, of course, to Vanessa Guillen. Naya Rivera. So I woke up this morning to bad news. Actress, Glee actress. That's what I know her the most, or remember her the most from. Also remember her being the ex-girlfriend of Sean, the rapper. What's his name? Sean, the one that's with Jhené Aiko right now. Sean, y'all know who I'm talking about. Everybody ain't got to say it. We already know who it is. Don't type it in the comments. She evidently rented a pontoon boat for her and her 4-year-old son. This was in Lake Piru in Ventura, California. This was on 4th of July. She rented it earlier in the day, and then her and her son went out onto the water. They said they had been out there for about 3 hours. Evidently she and the little boy. Now the story gets a little mixed up. We're not quite sure, because of course they're going by the 4-year-old trying to tell them. And of course, 4-year-old children, they're scared and they don't always remember. But it seems that they both jumped off of the boat. He had on a life jacket. She did not. They went for a swim. I guess the little boy was able to either climb back on the boat, or maybe she helped him back up on the boat. And then she continued to swim out in the water and never came back. The little boy ended up falling asleep on the boat. And there were some people on another boat who were going by and noticing this boat was just sort of drifting along. So they went up on the boat and they found the little boy. Okay. Her life jacket was still on the boat. So she definitely didn't have one on. And that was when the authorities were alerted. And now they're saying that they're presuming that she has died, that she has drowned. They did search for her body all day yesterday. Well, that can't be on 4th of July because that would have been a few days. I don't think it was 4th of July. But they searched for her body all day yesterday, was not able to find it, so they suspended the search for the night. That's when you know that they believe that she's dead, okay? Because they're not looking into the night anymore. It's not safe for them to look into the night. And then they were going to resume the search today. So I believe they're just looking for a body, and that's sad. I know that Naya Rivera has had some issues in the past. We know that her relationship with Sean was featured in one of his songs, and then she went on to get married to a guy, and I think even her and the guy was having issues. I don't even know if she's still married. I didn't even research any of that. So I don't really know if they're thinking that, possibly she went out there on purpose, and if she, was trying to harm herself. I mean, it is dangerous to go on a boat with just you and a 4-year-old. If something does happen, then the 4-year-old obviously can't help you. So I'm wondering what was her thinking to go out there in the first place, and if this was something, if she had planned on possibly killing herself or harming herself, but then she has her 4-year-old, and I would hope that she's not trying to put her 4-year-old in danger's way, in harm's way either. So there's still more that'll come out about that story, but I think that we can assume that she's dead. Okay, but I'll give you guys an update next week to let you know, because I know by then they will have found something or someone. Okay, so yeah, but terrible, right? Guys, so 50 Cent was on Lil Wayne's radio show. I think it's a podcast. I think it's called Young Money Radio, and they recorded, they video it as well. And they were talking about exotic women. Evidently 50 Cent and many other rappers, including Lil Wayne, have a special proclivity toward the exotic woman. I'm giving you a lot of these today, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. But in the interview that 50 Cent was given, it was just very ignorant, the way he was explaining, that he's just, when you in the neighborhood and you be around regular black women, when you see some of these exotic looking women who look like they fresh off of a boat somewhere, that's just something you just be so excited that you could even get one of those. Okay, first of all, you wouldn't even get one of those if you wasn't 50 Cent or Lil Wayne. We also know that Lil Wayne has dated for a long time this Middle Eastern girl. I can't think of her name right now. Actually, supposedly they just broke up, but he got another one. This new one looked pretty much like the other one that he had, So, of course, Lil Wayne sitting there laughing and co-signing, as 50 Cent talking about black women being angry at him for wanting somebody exotic. Just the whole conversation was just ignorant. It was just ignorant. Not super surprising for 50 Cent. We know that he has parental issues, mommy and daddy issues himself. But maybe it was a little bit disappointing for Lil Wayne to do that, considering his mama, all his baby mamas, and his daughter are all regular black women. Okay, yeah, some of them are light-skinned and all of that, but still, I don't know if we would consider Lauren London or Nivea exotic, so disappointing for many black women. But is it really surprising? 50 Cent is gonna be 50 Cent all the time, and like I said, Lil Wayne has for years now been dating outside of his race as well. So not surprising at all. After the show aired and, people were all over 50 Cent and Lil Wayne, Toya did post about Reginae saying that, this is her black queen daughter. and many other people also co-signed and said that, you know, Reginae, including herself, said that, you know, she's a proud Black woman, and just never calling out her father, but definitely letting us know that the things that her father thought was so funny, you know, affected her as well. Did you guys see the interview? I didn't see the whole interview, but I know that there was a lot of backlash, you know, specifically from Black women who, frankly, are tired of hearing the rhetoric. But we're used to it. We're used to it. That didn't even bother me. Did it bother you guys? All right, you guys, and then lastly, in quickies, prayers up for Ricky Smiley's daughter. I didn't even get her name. I'm sorry, you guys, but he has a daughter in Houston, and evidently she, on 4th of July, was also a victim of gun violence when she was stopped at a red light. She was on her way to Whataburger, and she was at a red light, and some people at the red light just started shooting back and forth at each other. She was an innocent bystander who was hit 2 or 3 times. I've heard 3 times, and I've heard two times in the leg, I believe. So it was not a life-threatening injury, although it could have been, because if you get hit in the leg in the right place and hit a major artery, you can still bleed to death. So it could have been serious. Or it could have been more serious, because a gunshot is serious, but it wasn't. She was able to get into surgery, and Ricky Smiley said that she will be okay. But yeah, you guys, these guns. I'm not one to say guns need to be gotten rid of, but responsibly, all these guns on the street, something needs to be done about it. I don't know what can be done at this point, especially right now with the temperature of the nation. But yeah, so anyway, prayers up for her. She's gonna be okay. Kellyanne Conway's daughter, Claudia Conway, she's 15 years old. She is an anti-YSAP supporter. She is a Black Lives Matter supporter. And she has been trolling her parents mercilessly on social media. We knew that Kellyanne Conway's husband, I don't even know, are they not together? They must not be together anymore. But we knew that he did not like YSAP, and was upset that Kellyanne was even working for him. So it wasn't surprising that the daughter was going to feel this way as well. He was supposedly more supportive of her originally when she kind of got on this Black Lives Matter train, and then I guess as she started to pick up more and more attention, he reached out to journalists and said that it was not responsible for them to talk to her. She's 15 years old, that he doesn't, you know, support them talking to a minor. And then she said on social media, you know, that he was just mad that her voice was finally getting heard, and he's just mad that their marriage didn't work out. So then after I saw that, I was like, okay, now is this just a bratty child that's, you know, trying to get her parents pissed off, you know, and has decided to latch on to this Black Lives Matter? Like, I don't know about her. But the fact that she done said that to her father, and the fact that her mom was actually on a video, she was on a live on Instagram, and Kellyanne Conway actually was on the video trying to get the phone from the girl and all that. So then I was just like, okay, is she just using this because she's trying to get on her kids, on her parents' fucking nerves? So I don't really know. I mean, you know, we'll take on everybody who is really for the cause. Okay, and if she truly means it, then fine. But if this is just a case of, you know, some bratty white rich kid that's just trying to piss her parents off, then moving on to the next. People wanted me to talk about the Lyrica and Diamonds and Pearls conversation. You guys, I totally forgot about it. You know, I was trying to think, like, why didn't I even remember? And then I was like, Jada and August. Okay, Jada and August completely took over everything last week, because I know that their conversation was supposed to happen last Friday, right? And the Jada and August thing like blew up on Wednesday. So by the time Thursday was here, I did Top of the Blogs. That was all Jada and August, and I ain't thought nothing else about Lyrica and Diamonds and Pearls, and I haven't even seen anything about it. Did anybody watch it? I didn't see it, so I can't even speak on it. And I actually had every intention of talking about it and just didn't. You know, I finally saw the first part of the Ray J and Princess conversation, and I tell you, that was so fucking tiring. I was like, I don't think I can do that again. That Princess is Ray J has his issues, but that princess is a piece of work as well. And yeah, I don't think I could have been married to her either. So I don't know anything about it, you guys. I'm sorry. I totally forgot about it. Also, you guys, Elaine Maxwell, if you guys watch the documentary on Jeffrey Epstein on Netflix, then you guys know full well who Elaine was. She was his runner, I should say. She was his right-hand man who would bring the women to him. Well, I shouldn't even say women, the young girls, because, you know, he was having sex with children, basically. But anyway, she has been arrested and transferred to the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Big time sex traffickers who just had buku money and pretty much was controlling everything and everybody, and was just really kind of running amok. After he was arrested and then supposedly died in prison, I believe he was killed. All I know is this Elaine better grow some fucking eyeballs in the back of her fucking head. Bitch, you best not go to sleep. That's what the hell I know. Because they're saying now that she's going to fully cooperate with the authorities, and I'm sure she knows every single thing that was going on with Jeffrey Epstein, which means that she is going to be blowing the whistle on all of these big names. Okay, they thought that they had did it with Jeffrey Epstein, but baby, now that they got Elaine, yeah, she best not take her ass to sleep. Can you imagine the bubble guts that she must have? Girl, they is fixing to come after her. I will not be surprised if that woman don't wake up dead. Okay, as a matter of fact, I'm expecting that news anytime. Her lawyers and legal team are all complaining that they put her in this detention center that has a whole bunch of bad shit that goes on in there anyway. But look, I can't be concerned about that. Fuck. Okay, wasn't nobody worried about it when she was bringing these kids to this old ass man to be having sex with. So I can't. Okay. All I can say is, baby, you better be watching at all fucking times. Monique, comedian extraordinaire. Okay, she has come out and said that she will not be joining the Real Housewives of Atlanta cast. I don't know how that rumor got started, but she said that people have been asking her if she was going to be replacing Nene. Maybe her name was thrown in the box just casually and somebody picked it up and ran with it. But she said, no, she will not be on Real Housewives of Atlanta. She said, you know, no disrespect to the other girls, but Nene is Real Housewives of Atlanta, that she is irreplaceable. She respects everybody there, but she will not be going. Monique wouldn't, that is not the cast for her. Okay. So no babies. All right. Don't worry about it. Monique still has her other things that she's doing, but it will not involve Real Housewives of Atlanta. And then lastly, congratulations are in order to Remy and Pap. Okay. Yes, it seems like the rap couple are infanticipating. They're expecting their second child together, and isn't that a blessing considering that she was having a hard time even conceive, and now she got a second one coming. And I think that this will probably be the nail in the coffin for her career. Okay, it's time to just leave that as far as the rap is concerned. You know, let's move it on to other things. I know she does a thing with Joe Budden, and yeah, it's time to just parlay that into something else. And that looks like that's what she's doing. But congratulations to them, because they seem to be very happy. And, the baby, Pap always wanted to have the kids with Remy. And they seem obviously happy enough to be fucking on each other and creating a baby. So good for them. Okay, so that's it. That is it. Let me go find my dog. All right, you guys, I'm gonna get off of here. We do this every single week, so make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back.